Well, good sunny spring afternoon, everybody. PA Figs here. So this is one of my less than favorite days. This is the day where I move all of the figs from the driveway to the orchard, backyard, or side yard. Never fun to move them. It's a nice day other than we've got 30, 40 mile per hour gusts, so it's really windy. But it might be our last free weekend, so I gotta get it done. As I'm doing it here, I did buy some embosso tags to put on the fig trees to make sure that they're all labeled. Let me go ahead and open these up. Alright, so here's the tag. There's 50 in here. I'll try to put a link down below to where I bought them. I think it was Amazon. And you can see there's the tags, and on the left are the little pieces of wire to hold them to the tree. Let's see. So here's the tag. Just, it looks like a, piece of aluminum. Nothing too fancy. For some reason I'm having a really hard time focusing on them. So, all you do is write on them with a ballpoint pen. Let me show you. Not sure how well I'm going to be able to do this single-handed, but let's give it a go. I've got a Col de Dame Blanc over there, so I do like to spell it out. That way, sometimes these tags do break, or they do get kind of worn out or like corroded. So they're not perfect, but they're the best tags that I've found. So Col de Dame Blanc. Alright, now unfortunately I wrote on the concrete here. That was probably a stupid move. You can see it did imprint a little, but on the back, let me just put C, D, D, B. I'm really having trouble on the pavement here, but there you go. So you can see Col de Dame Blanc on both sides. Real easy, real simple, and they last longer than pretty much any other tag that I've seen, so I really do like them. Alright, I've got this little piece of wire through them, and now you can just put it along the tree wherever you like. I usually like to put it up above. I find they do a little bit better higher up when they're not kind of in the soil constantly getting wet. When they're constantly getting wet, some of the minerals, I don't know if it's from the lime or what, do tend to corrode it a little bit, and then you have problems reading it. I have had some tags go completely bad. So that's pretty much it though. Put that on, leave it a little bit loose so that the tree doesn't grow into it and doesn't suffocate the tree, and that's all you got. Sometimes I like to put when I rooted them on there, sometimes I like to put who I got them from, especially if they're new trees and I'm not quite positive the variety is legitimate. I'll definitely put who I got them from on there so I remember, a year, 2 years when they start to fruit, so that I can go back to that person and, get a follow-up or ask what's going on if the fruit doesn't look right. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to those. So, okay, I've got my handy-dandy tree mover here. It's just a like a commercial cart, but it does have that big bottom on it, which makes it nice. But a lot of trees to move, so let's go ahead and get started. Well, here's something interesting that I don't know that I've gotten yet, a Sicilian Bariba. Now, when we first discovered this tree, the elderly couple that was telling us about it, they only got Baribas off of it in their zone because in upstate New York, the figs didn't have enough of a season to ripen. But I don't really recall getting too many Baribas off of it since then, or any maybe. So this might be my first Sicilian Bariba. We'll see. The tree's looking pretty good. Gotta move it to the backyard. So here's something interesting I just saw. Last year I'd put wire around this tree to hold it up. This wire went to a post so this tree wouldn't fall over. And if you look, that's how much growth there was during the winter. That wire is buried. Let's see if I can get it out. Oh boy. I may have to use both hands here. Let me come back. Alright, I got it. Did pull a little bit of the bark off, but that should heal just fine. But you can see, basically from here to here, from this point here to where my other fingers are, that was buried in that root, that trunk of that tree. So always be careful with your wires. And that was bad that I forgot to take this one off for winter storage. It's amazing how much they grow even in the winter. Okay, just a quick update on the Martinenca Ramada. Those figs are going to hold on. I don't believe Martinenca puts out a Bariba, so these are main crop figs that overwintered in the garage and look like they are going to ripen. We will see, but it's the first time I've really been able to overwinter a fig and have it hold on. So we will see. Alright, well I got pretty tired last night and got all the fig trees moved. Didn't really get a chance to take video because I was just beat. It was like 10 o'clock by the time I got done. So that's the backyard. Side yard I tried to put a little bit less in this year. Got a little crowded last year. So you can see here's the side yard ready to go. And then I have a couple up front, including my big black Madeira that's just not doing too well. It's in one of those big, kind of like that RDB there, those big half 55-gallon drums, and it's just a bear to move. So with it not doing well, I said, let's just leave it in the driveway, give it lots of heat this summer, and, see how it does. I've got another one in the greenhouse going to try to replace it in case it doesn't make it, but yeah, it's going. Grapevine, it's starting to come back to life. Unfortunately, I pruned it, and it looks like the two ends that I chose are not alive. Well, definitely not alive. Nope. So that's a bummer. I haven't really been getting many grapes off of these vines. Just probably not taking care of them appropriately. Not real familiar with grapes, but we're lucky if we get just a couple to eat. So we'll see, but now I have to go through and get all of the water system working. Seems like every year I put the pots in a different place, and it's always kind of the debate I have is, where should the figs go? Which ones should go where? And every year it ends up different. Every year I say I'm going to put the shorter ones here to let as much sunlight through to the back as possible. And by the time I get halfway through, I'm just like, forget it. Let's just find places to put them. I do want to use more of this rebar this year, pound it into the ground, and then tie the figs to it. Try to prevent a lot of the falling over that I had last year. I don't know, I'm still in search for the perfect pot. I do like the self-watering pots, but the ones that you get at the store, they're too top-heavy. The 5-gallon buckets, like you can see over there, they're too top-heavy. Really, that type of pot right there is probably my favorite. It's a little bit shorter, a little bit wider, you can see, but it's squat. So it gives a real good base for the fig tree. And even a fig tree like this is likely not going to tip over. But it's not self-watering, so I need to figure out how to make a self-watering pot that's in that shape. And I haven't found a good container yet. Every once in a while I'll be at Walmart or Home Depot and I'll take a look at all the different containers or garbage cans or kind of anything I can find that's sort of in that shape to make a self-watering pot out of. I just haven't found the right thing yet. I do like these white self-watering pots from Walmart purely because they're pretty cheap. But I do like how they have the big lip at the bottom for watering. But they fall apart. So this one I think is only a year old. Might be 2 by now. But they start to disintegrate. I'm trying to see if I have any out here to show you. I don't think I do. Even these ones from Walmart, or not Walmart, Home Depot, you can see they're starting to break. I think I've had these though for 4 or 5 years. But I don't know, I want to find a good pot, again in that type of shape there, that I could turn to self-watering. And it doesn't have to have a big reservoir. Everything's on drip here, so even if it just has a enough water to get through a day, that way if there's a problem, I can hopefully identify it and get it fixed. But I think it just makes the trees do a little bit better because this isn't a constant drip. These turn on for 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the evening. A constant drip would provide water all day. Problem I have sometimes on really hot days in the summer is these will dry out during the day. So, you know, they'll get nice and watered in the morning. They'll be doing real good. By about 3 p.m., they'll dry out again. The leaves will start to droop. They'll get water at 7, come back, and be fine. But I'm not sure that, you know, that is good for the figs. What's this guy over here? I see a bunch of Baribas on it. I really didn't get to do much looking last night. It was more get them out. But you can see here, there's a couple of nice looking Baribas, and there's some more down there forming. This is a Shea Black. Shea Black AD. Never was able to get the UCD version. A couple friends gave cuttings. They never rooted. But we'll see. I have a Violet de Bordeaux someplace. Oh, up here. That also had a ton of Baribas on it. And Baribas, you know, the way I look at Baribas is they're fun. They give you something in the early spring to look forward to. But, you know, don't expect much from them. This is your first year. Don't expect them, and don't judge your figs based on the Baribas, because the Baribas are not usually very good. You can see these got pretty bad sunburn, because they started to form in the garage, and then when I pulled them out, you can see that sunburn on them. Most of the figs did pretty well. You can see the wood got sunburned, but it's lignifying. That won't be a problem. Some did lose a little bit of the tips from sunburn, some of the leaves, but they're bouncing back. And all in all, I gotta tell you, for, geez, what is it? End of April, not even May yet. I mean, it's not even May. I mean, look at this Martinenko Ramada. It's not even May yet. Normally, I'm lucky if I have any figs popping out by about the first week of May. So we are off to a phenomenal, phenomenal start to our fig season. So now it'll all be up to the rain. And what I mean by that is, rain is fine up until the fig gets ready to start swelling and ripening. And then you want a dry, dry end to your summer. So the best thing we could have is a very dry August and September. And that's what makes for the best fig season. Not a lot of water. I'd like to try this year moving some of these figs, you know, maybe the smaller ones when they start to ripen, into the greenhouse. It lets me control the water a little bit better to them. But, you know, summer always gets busy. So let's see, taking a look. I did make this Preto air layer for a family member today. And here are the fig trees in here. Well, I got an ant crawling up my arm. Yikes. Okay, and you can see this is my other Black Madeira, and lots of figs forming on it. Alright, sorry about that. I was getting attacked by ants. But lots of figs forming on this Black Madeira. Very excited to see that. Now I have to move them out of the greenhouse and try to keep them from getting sunburned. I always struggle with that. I move them to the other side of the greenhouse where they don't get quite as much light. I believe this is my Bordeaux Negra Armada. You can see, other than my shaky hand, you can see the figs starting to form here. Nicely striped or variegated. And figs are really taking off in the greenhouse, but it's time to get them out because it's getting a little too crowded in here, and it's going to start to get, you know, too crowded. You can see that other Bordeaux Negra Armada there. It's got a variegated leaf on it. Geez, I wish it would put out a whole branch of those, and I'd air layer that off. That would be beautiful. But yeah, there's one fig tree in the back there. It's not doing too well. You can see the tip of it, the two sticks sticking up, two branches sticking up. Not doing too great. Not sure why, so you can't even really see it. So time to start pulling some of these out. And if you leave them in the greenhouse too long, they get leggy. You can see this guy's going to have to be supported. But they do really well in here. They grow really well. You can see there's a Bordeaux Negra Armada that's a little further along. It must have been one that grew in the winter here. That may not ripen perfectly, but yeah, it'll give you something to look forward to in the summer here, early summer. So, all right, let's move these out. Alright, so here's another example of putting the tags on too tight, or not even too tight. I mean, this was plenty loose last year, but just the amount of growth over the winter and in the spring, you can see that is completely tight and suffocating that fig tree. So I need to try to get in here and snip that wire if I can. There we go.